What is up, everybody? My name is Richard Terrell. I go by Kirby Kid, and you are watching Dio Live. This is a semi-daily stream show in which we talk about game design. Took a break for the last week or so because I was working really hard on Enlighten, which I'll show you in a bit. But the topic of the day is lessons learned. And tomorrow I also want to talk about experiments in learning. So today's kind of a semi-primer. So I'm playing with this Explosure. And this is an interesting weapon. It's got good range, right? That's 4 of these sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way over there. It's cool on Splatoon, a lot of things are broken down, these little marks. So you can just kind of be like, I know I'm out of range, I know I'm in range. And the whole level's built on these, with these divisions in mind, right? So if you look at certain areas over here, this is about 2 divisions. And you kind of, when you stand at the base of the ramp, you're like, ah, this is just 2 up. And then those guys are all on the divisions. Cool stuff. Anyway, we're not talking about level design. This weapon I'm learning a lot of weapons. I watched a really interesting video on how to get better at Splatoon by Wasm. And I'll put a link down below, but basically he just explained that he's a top player and these are the things he does. And you know, a lot of the information should be common sense, or a lot of the information like, oh, play a lot. You're like, well, yeah, but then I think a lot of people underestimate just how sort of impactful each one of these steps are. But to summarize quickly, he said, you gotta play a lot. You have to, you know, narrow your focus on just one weapon, because you don't want to overload yourself on complexity and be like, today I'll learn an Explosion, tomorrow I'm going to learn this Charger, because that's what I do. Obviously I'm not a top player, and these are probably things that hold me back. He said to watch yourself play and watch other people play. So like, I watch a lot of Splatoon, and with these streams I get to show you highlights. Not full matches, but at least I'll show you highlights. Maybe I'll play a match here on stream to show you, but that's important too. And he listed a couple of other interesting tips like stop complaining and stuff like that. But really, when you list out all of his steps, let me see if I can find it. Enlighten feedback. Let's see. I'm gonna type in play a lot. Play. I'm gonna type in complain. Alright, enlighten feedback. Enlighten feedback. I'm gonna type in the word complain. So let me jump to here. So play a lot is number 1. Get experience in many new situations by playing a lot. Train efficiently is number 2. Watch your gameplay is number 3. Watch others play is number 4. Get bodied and fail fast and challenge yourself. I've heard a lot of people talk about failing fast and failing. Like, that's it, failing fast. And then 6 is persistence. So you do all these things, right? You play a lot. You train effectively, which he gave more detailed tips and stuff. And then you do all the other things. You should be able to improve very effectively. It's kind of interesting just thinking about the games that you've done these things without thinking too much about it. You're just like, yeah, I love playing this game, and I love watching videos of myself in the replay, and I love watching other people play, and I love practicing things. Like, those are probably the games you really excel at without even realizing that you're doing pretty optimal self-improvement strats. But yeah, right now I'm playing with this Explosure. And I'm learning things like if you hit both the projectile part and the explosion that hits the ground, it's 90 damage, and then one more hit finishes it off. I'm learning that if you're at about range for the Explosure hit, you can aim about this high up. It should get both, so let me see. If you're at max range, where is my max range? And then you aim this high up. Yeah, there's the both hit. So that's interesting. So when you're at less than max range, you aim this high up. Wait, even higher up. Yeah. It's too far. Or not far enough, jeez. And then you can do crazy stuff like this. What comes up? Let's go down. But anyway, practicing that, getting used to the weapon, learning a lot about it. It's just a lot more complex than just pointing and aiming, right? Or pointing and shooting. It's just why these games are so complex in the first place. So, this is Splatoon. This is me doing a little bit of training, even though I hardly ever do this. This training mode is decent, but it's not great. I'd love to design more interesting training modes for a lot of the different games I play, but that'll come later. So what I'll show you is some of the replays I just took. It's kind of like me playing, and I'm popping my headphones so I can hear what's going on. So yeah, this is me with the Explosion. So this is really cool. So like, there's another slosher there. So I use my superior range. I back up, and now that slosher doesn't know where I am. Where's my pause button? Okay. So that slosher, it looks like went on top and bollard because he thought I was gonna get on top and shoot down, but I'm not. I'm over here. So that didn't work. I got one hit right there. The person's attacking me, but then it just sloshes twice in the same direction. So I just used my superior movement in the map coverage. I'm like, well, if it's all green, I'm going over here into its blind spot. He didn't see me, and then I just get a direct for 90 damage from that final hit. So here's another clip. After you get the advantage, we're just pestering them in their base, and we have some good range to do it, right? And then you know there's multiple ways to get at you, so somebody needs to be looking out for these other ways. I see a guy there because just based on the timing, I'm like, it takes this long for somebody to get around behind us and try to attack. The person gets pushed back. I'm like, well, I'll just help get my teammate in there. He just goes in there and slaughters them. So I'm just painting their way out. See, look how nice I am. Shoot one paint blast towards him, and I shoot one paint blast this way in case he went behind, so he'd be able to get back faster. And then here's the guy, I'm like, oh no! It's a bad idea to try to challenge the jetpack with just your slosher like this, and then I immediately go to defense mode, barely survive that. And then my teammate helps pop in, we blow him up. I was just talking about defensive bubbles, and I actually got a chance to use it. I was close. There's some more slosher, explosher action. So this is really cool. So normally I just go this right route and I attack people over here, but since we lost control of the zone, the enemies are probably going to be a lot closer to me than I want, so I can't get into the position I want. So I'm going to go left and see what my teammates are doing. Wait, is this the right clip? Oh, this is where I infiltrate with bubbles. And then we pinch him from the left side and the right side, and I help my teammates. So this is cool because they have 3 people alive. I cut in with my special, and specials are really powerful for this. Take the zone back, to slow people from getting towards us, and then we pinch the other 3 people right here on the edge, and they all die. So yeah, waiting for your teammates, waiting for the right combination of moves, and based on the matchup, super important. Otherwise, you can just throw yourselves at these problems over and over. Somebody died. This is cool. So again, just knowing the time that people have to get behind us, I already throw my splash there because I know that it was all purple except for this part right here. So if they were really coming close, this would have hit them. And then somebody tried to bomb me. You revealed your position. So I hit him right there because I could hear a hit marker. And then I fished 2 over the wall, heard another hit marker, know that the person's traveling through the base. Go ahead and help the teammates a little bit, and then anticipate the person trying to shark us from our own base, and then finish them off with a direct. And that's so cool. The fact that knowing the timing, how long it takes people to get back to you, and just keeping that in mind, anticipation, keeping yourself safe with your range advantage, using blind fire to your advantage, hearing that, anticipating which side they're gonna. I could have checked the map to really see if he was sneaking behind us, but I just knew. I'm like, this person thinks he's clever. And then this person's completely trapped because there's green all on the right side there, so you're trapped. So that's a cool part. It's just me practicing being a backliner, keeping my distance from people. With my object shredder, I was able to weaken this bubble in front and then get out of the way before everything exploded. I put a bubble there. Put a bubble there. I shoot the bubble. And I'm like, okay, now it's one more away from being popped. I see it jump in. I'm going to delay. And then a teammate helps me power my own bubble up and we kill 2 for 1. Totally booyah. So right here. That guy was behind it the whole time. So like I knew the person didn't go left. But then that balloon coming in from my teammate. Good old teammate. Thank you. And then you just drop on that guy, get the 90, and then the next hit. Killed that person. It's just like, for this low level play, which is my level of play, one smart decision can make a world of difference. You stay alive, somebody else stays alive, you paint, you don't lose control of the zone. That's very important. We'll watch it again. The fact that I cut back over here, and then there's a guy on top. I saw the guy on top, and then the guy's just being very conspicuous, right? Dead. This is the one where I look at my teammates. I'm like, oh, they got it, so I'm going to paint up this wall. And as I go up the wall, purple, there's a guy shooting me from the left. Somebody threw a balloon at me from the right. Drawing a whiteboard. Balloon came from behind this wall, and this dude right here is shooting me at the wall. So I already know where most of the team is because this person's dead currently. And this blaster has a special. I didn't see that, but it's right there. So I know where most of the enemy team is, and they're all on my side, so I can hedge. So I go into the zone. Guess what? There's the other teammates. So that's all the whole team. I know where they are. So I attack them from behind. And since I knew the person was coming up behind and I didn't hear any activity, I knew that that person wasn't down here waiting for me to go over here. That person should have actually waited right down here and shot up at me. But instead, it went all the way around, and because I didn't hear them down here, I turned around and instantly throw my last bubble to save myself. My friend wasn't so lucky. And then that person had splashed down. So funny. That person was trying to trap me. Defend, pop my own bubble by slipping off and not getting shot by the people that I was attacking initially. My bubble kills the splashdowner, and then my teammates kill those other guys, and we totally take back the zone. Look, all the teammates, all the enemy team are dead. All of them. We'll watch it again. So we're coming back from being pushed back, but all of my team is alive. One of their teammates goes down. Cool. One of our teammates goes down. 3 on 3. I see him trying to get me. That blaster probably killed him. Put pressure on and defend. Defend. And that person is shot in the back. Yep. So here's another this opening right here. I jump early because I know that shockwave is going to push me pretty hard. Push me all the way up against this wall and nearly kill me. But I use that speed to my advantage and just keep moving. That person totally missed. See attacks coming from the right, so I split the difference and do half and half on the bleeding bomb. This guy tried to come up and get me, look. Swam right up. Whoa, where did that person come from? Couldn't hit me. So now I know I'm fighting 2 people. So I go over here, pester that person. Totally knew you were sneaking up. I was shooting early. And then I just hold my fire here because I knew somebody was going to try to walk in there and attack me. That person should have sloshed over the top. Killed the guy in armor because he thought it was funny. Throw a bomb there. The guy tried to get a tower desperately. Killed the entire team. We'll watch it again. Accelerate. Cut that. So I knew I was in trouble, right? Because look. The area is orange behind this purple thing. And they had somewhat control of this area, so I cut in knowing that I was about to get ambushed. And that guy runs. I'm like, you probably shouldn't have run away. Because now I get to trap a lot of you like this. Pester, pester, pester. Knew you were coming up. He tried to trap me too. He threw a bomb, but when you're throwing a bomb, you're not shooting, so you die. Here's another clip. Nice assist. Throw a bomb, it missed, so I just wasted my time there. Wait, did it miss? Oh, it actually landed on the edge of the, cool, I'll show you again. I throw this bomb and I bank. Does it miss? It banks off that little pole. I probably missed. Heard some hit markers, so I kept firing. Kill 2. Marcus, my brother, takes up a stingray. So we just keep this person back. He chases that guy down with the stingray. Check this out. No one knows where a booyah bomb's coming from, but you can't see me. All 4 of the teammates completely taken by surprise. The fact that I jumped towards the booyah bomb just means I understand the spacing and the timing. Now that everyone's pushed away, I'm going to do this technique again in the future. This is so funny. Nobody knows where I am. Normally when you hear booyah, you like look in the sky for the booyah bomb. They don't know where I am. I'm behind like a pillar and underneath the tower. Squid right here is jumping straight on the tower, about to get blown back. This person's about to get blown back. This person here going over the side, about to get blown back. We'll watch it. I know they weren't the strongest players, but I thought it was funny. So here's me playing a sniper. This will be one of the last clips. Guy chasing me. I know he's chasing me. So I play the Rainmaker explosion instead of the Ring Around the Rosie game. Try to shoot that person. Knew he fell. Immediately go into this. Use the map to make adjustments. See that that guy dies. Try to find somebody else. Hit Marcus. That means there's only one other person I don't know where he is. Right? I killed 2. And then there's the 3rd. So then I move forward like, yeah, there you are. Throw a bomb behind me to cut off the path. Snap. You dead. That's the entire team accounted for. So that's how we make such a strong push. Learning when to back up. That person should have totally pressed forward. Why did that person go left? Like, why? Did he go up the wall and try to like jump down on me? But like I'm gonna stay. I'm gonna keep going forward towards my teammates, towards my own color. Look, there's the person. You explode. Missed. Track you. Because the people hanging below the wall are the ones that are most likely going to shark the Rainmaker when he jumps down. So I went ahead and took care of that. And then basically take this guy out. Just like that. So my sniping, it's kind of interesting. I used to play like this when I played Metroid Prime Hunters on the DS, which is touch screen based controls. And I used to just like play sniper rifle and nail headshots. So I like, you know, touchscreen and motion control based aiming. Kid Icarus Uprising wasn't so much about the aiming like this, but I didn't play many staffs to do like a lot of swipe sniping, but this is very familiar to me for some reason, and I just nailed that person. Okay, cool. So that's it for the Splatoon clips. Let's head on over to Enlighten. There we go. Thanks, Splatoon. So one of the feature that I've been working on the most over the last few weeks, I call the Method Shaker, which rhymes with Method Maker. And the Method Maker used to be this thing here in this extra mode past your notes. You take all these notes over here, right? All these notes you can take about the game. And then you can go over here and make hashtag groups and define them like Tetris-like. Tetris-likes are shapes that look like Tetris pieces, likely to be a Z or an S. And then you can even like go to the thoughts and search for Tetris. So once you make your own hashtags, you can use them, and when you use them, they become these interesting groups that you can use later. Like this is what a shape I call bad Tetris. It's funny. So I wanted people to articulate their approach to playing the game, because I think only by externalizing it and probably through language is the only way you're going to be able to improve it and truly understand what learning is and how it works. So I get people to try to take notes. I get people to try to talk in this game and write down their thoughts. So these are all my hashtags. I have a lot of them. They're in alphabetical order right here. And then after you make hashtags, you can make, like this, you can put them in the groups, right? Like asymmetric. These puzzles do not look symmetrical vertically or horizontally. Don't count diagonal symmetry. So these are asymmetric puzzles, and you can take all the puzzles in the game and click on the ones you think are asymmetric to slot them into place, right? So it's this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, right? This one, I forgot to add that one. See? We're not counting diagonal symmetry. Okay, okay. Okay, so that one probably belongs in there too. And like at any time, like I'm doing now, you can go back and update your groups, which I'm seeing a lot more if we're not counting diagonal symmetry. Oh, unless I have one for diagonal symmetry, so probably this one needs to not go in there. And this one. Okay, and then I can just save it. And then I can go to diagonal symmetry. These shapes are symmetrical only on the diagonal line. And save that, right? And now I get to add all the ones that are diagonal line symmetry. Something like this, 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 this. And it's cool being able to visualize so much of the game's variation of design space at a glance like this, even though Richard's in the way right now. What a punk. But that's all we need to do for now. Okay, so then you're supposed to go over here, and these are all the puzzles in the game. This is really trying to help you. I probably explained this in another video. Who cares? This is really trying to help you think about the bigger picture, right? You're not focused on solving a puzzle. You're not focused on completing the ring of puzzles in the puzzle mode. This is all about just the groups, and you made these groups. So here's our asymmetric, and let's do this with diagonal symmetry. Look, none of them have any in common. That's good, because that's... Oops. It's not yet. So then we can take any two groups. Like, well, what does Tetris-like puzzles... Oh, I don't have any other Tetris-like? What does bring together... I missed. Bring together puzzles have anything to do with asymmetric puzzles? Only one of them is shared. This probably should be diagonal symmetry. How about bring together puzzles? Anything to do with diagonal symmetry? None are shared. How about bring it around town? Or put double bring together. Of course they have themselves in common. How about bring it around town, SpongeBob style? I have nothing in this group. But anyway, it's pretty interesting to be like, oh, none of the diagonal symmetry puzzles fall under this bring together group, and bring together is basically when you push the lights together and that helps solve it. So that's interesting, right? So now I just made a new insight, right? I can make a... Whoa, where's my ability to make notes? What happened? Oh well. So the last step is Method Maker. And this takes all your hashtags, puts them at the top, and then you can kind of add these nodes to explain what your method is if you have a method that involves that group. So like, here's a YOP method that I took. Here's symmetric method, how I solve symmetric puzzle. Here's how I solve bringing together. And when they reference each other, I have these lines connect them. Lancet, last resort. These are all mini strats. Mitotic motion, really cool. And essentially, by articulating your own groups and explaining how you use them and what you think of them, you get to make a complex general strategy that was supposed to help people understand how they learn and all this other stuff in the game. But apparently, this is the kind of thing that only I can understand, and the only thing, kind of thing that only I like, because it involves lots of shapes and words and language and lines, and those are the things I like. That's why I made it. So most people can't handle this. This is way too complicated. They would never get to this point. So instead of making the method maker this, the method maker is now this. And as you can see, here is a list of methods, right? And you can make one at any time. Let's say, so let's go to my Nicole method, and it's under edit. So I click, and it brings me to this edit, and I have this description, and I can save it and add more nodes. So the goal of this is to check the cell state, and all the cells which I selected need to be on the 0 state, which means they're unlit. When all of them are unlit, the goal is reached. So then the first thing I have is I reset these counting devices. The second thing I have is I evaluate the field for whatever's dense. And then the next thing I have is target a cell from the heat map. So whatever areas are dense, I'm going to pick the densest area. And then the next thing I have is apply a click to that dense area. Then I'm going to count the number of hidden shapes and blah, blah, blah. Like each one of these means something. And I was trying to make this method that was able to solve puzzles the way my sister described how she solves them. So then we can run it, right? Let's get a random puzzle. There we go. And then click the method. Doop. And I don't know why it keeps saying it's done. Like, does it look like all of them are blank? No. But anyway, it goes one by one. It evaluates it and clicks the hottest one. It's the darkest one here, as you can see. And if it keeps doing that, stop. You know what? You know what? No. Edit, Nicole, check cell state. Let's try this. It's gonna be all lit. There you go. Save. Run it. Randomize. Cycle 2. There's a Facebook pattern on the right side. Ooh. And then if you run this cycle multiple times, like let's say 6 times with the speed of 2, you can see how this method pans out without having to do all the clicking yourself or all the thinking yourself, and it just like stopped working for whatever reason. So that's fine. Okay, that's fine. You stop. This method currently is not working very well. So we will go to this cool YOP method. Run it. This method can solve any puzzle. Like this. So as you can see, it makes a heat map and identifies which shape is on the topmost. It just solved it. It solved it without much problem, so it's going to stop itself. Yeah, so it makes these heat maps based on simple rules like prioritize the top cells or the bottom cells, or make a hotter spot for all the ones that are lights. I have some other fancier tools here, like when it's counting the lights in the grid, it only counts the lights that are potentially lit in this area right here and not in any of these black squares. So you can limit even what the simple rules look at. That's why I call these light limiters and click limiters. This is a click back. I can show you how that works later. But yeah, so let's click this a bunch of times and see if this algorithm can solve it. So it's going from the top row and basically chasing the lights down. So anything that's in the top row gets dropped a level, and anything in the second row gets dropped a level, and anything in the third row gets dropped a level. Oh my gosh. Look how easy that was. I think I only need to run this cycle once. So yeah, this was supposed to help people think about their approach to playing the game rather than just like, how many puzzles did you solve? I got stuck like everybody else. Like, you're actually supposed to consider the different ways people approach it, and then also consider how easy it would be to change some of your methods, right? Like, how easy would it be to learn this first part where all you do is pick every light in the top row and click one cell underneath it, right? One cell underneath it, one underneath it. Then the next row, this is one underneath, one underneath. This is called chasing down. And look, it worked, but now we're going to watch the AI do the same thing. So, you know, if you can understand what this AI does, that means you can understand and do it for yourself. See? See? So it's basically a node-based scripting system for developing your own methods / AI, and you do it from some of the simplest things and you try to get it to some complex things. Not everything has to solve the puzzle. There's so many different ways to explore this game. We'll try one more, because these aren't even hard for the thing. Like, it needs to be harder, so that it doesn't solve it just on its first pass down. Let's see what happens here. I have a built-in looping system too with some if-then conditionals. I tried to keep it as simple as possible. Then when it chases all of them down, it has a secondary protocol, and it adds lights to the grid, and then it repeats the whole thing from the top. Done. So that's some powerful methods right there, but not everyone's going to develop anything close to being sort of as comprehensive as that. So we can see some other stuff like this. I don't even know what this does. It's scanning for a known pattern. Target cell at random. Apply the click. So this is going to probably use the click bag. And the click bag is basically, if you kept track of every cell you clicked and never clicked the same one twice until you've clicked all of them at least once, that's what a click bag is. It's like drawing your options out of a bag and then putting them aside, and when the bag's empty, you know you've done everything once. That's why it's a bag. Some Tetris games have the bag method, in which they only allow you to draw each piece once before throwing all the pieces back in and shuffling it. Oops. Run it. So let's see what happens when we run it. It's stuck. Great. But as you can see, these dots here, these are the clicks that were made. That algorithm is not good. Let's try this one. Target cell at random, adjust the target, count the lights, and then loop back again, and then reset your bag, and then do density heat map and apply clicks. Okay. It's going to scan for a known pattern. Oops. Oh, it found a known pattern after one click, which is cheating. So let's make it a little harder and try it again. And we're gonna cycle this 15 times until if it finds one, it'll stop. So as you can see, this method is a little bit more random. Obviously it has like a random click protocol in it, while the other one did not at all. And every time you hear that chime, the high one, that means, what does that mean? Oh, it means that the if condition was found true, and it's going to continue. So this is the indenting system, right? Certain nodes can have an if condition, like count the lights. And this just says if there's a certain amount of lights, you're true, and if there's not, you're false. These nodes with the indent on them only play if they are preceded by a node that was true or a node that was indented, right? So none of them will play until something's true, and then they'll play in sequence. And as soon as the sequence gets to one that's not indented, you have to get another true statement in order to use them again. So that's how the sequence can skip over them until they meet the criteria. So we'll run it again. Why are you 0, 0? 20. So you can see the bag on the left being used up every click, or there's 2 clicks being made, and one uses the bag and one doesn't. What's cool about using the bag is you're not gonna double back over your own work, because you are making sure not to click the same cell twice. Yeah, now the board looks kind of ugly, very far away from something symmetrical or solvable, or familiar. It's all solvable. But as long as we keep drawing from the bag, we're going to get into new places. So I'm going to run it again. Oh, the bag reset. Oh, so I need to probably run it 36 times. At least 25, because that's one in every bag. Oh. 36. So yeah, this tool is a little crazy right now. It may seem a little intimidating, but I want to try to make it to where it's as simple as saying a few keywords. Like, I already have a few questions in Enlighten the game that ask you, like, methodology questions, right? Like, where do you tend to click on lights or around lights? Well, that's can be expressed in this system, right? To have a preference for clicking either on lights or off. Like, you answering that multiple choice question could help me determine what your method is. And if I ask enough simple questions, I could probably generate one of these methods for you based on your own playstyle. Or if I could just have an open questionnaire anytime, and you can fill it out at any time, and then it'll just make the list of things for you, then you can tweak them afterwards, right? So yeah, that's the method shaker. Mr. Brightside, what is this? No. You know, all this menu UI was tricky, but nothing that was too complicated, because I've done all these pieces before. Mr. Brightside, what are you? I didn't want to edit you. Run it. Scroll down. Run it. There we go. Target cell random apply click find custom pattern. It's just a test for the custom pattern, which we probably won't find. So we'll run this a bunch of times and see if the click bag betrays us. Speed it up. You see very quickly how random clicking does not produce any kind of effective results for solving things. As it shouldn't. It's a skill-based game. We don't need randomness. So yeah, that's the method shaker, an exciting feature. The editor, I can show you, I can build a new one, right? And it starts off blank, and I can say stream method, because this is the method. This description, this is the method made on stream. And then you save it. And then the first node you always put is your goal. Like, what is the goal of this method? And right now it filters them out by only the ones that can be goals. So this is going to find a custom pattern. And when you specify a custom pattern, you can draw it yourself like this. Let's say I want to find a pattern of this. Well, if I want to find this shape, technically the red are the lighted squares and the X's are empty squares. But if I want to isolate this shape, I have to do this. Probably this. This is an isolated version of the shape. That means I want two sticks and nothing else directly adjacently touching it. And it's going to calculate that for myself. But when I find this shape, I want the weight of it to be 5. And it doesn't really matter because this is the goal. So if you find that shape, the game should be 1. So check this out. X, save. Oop. I didn't want to do that. X. Scroll down. Delete. Stream method's gone. New method. Stream method 2. This is the second attempt. I can't spell. Save, add node. There's a little glitch where if you save it without adding any other node, it messes stuff up. So that's the goal. I'm going to add a node. So we're going to search for this pattern. We're going to do it by... The first thing we're going to do is... See all these options? There's a lot of options. The description text is not formatted, so the titles at least. Okay. Target cell random. And this we're going to draw from the bag because we like drawing from the bag. And now we can click on this and be like, this is what we want to outline. This is our goal, to find this shape. Yeah, now everything's nice. So add a node. We target cell randomly and we want to apply that click. And we want this click to pull from the bag if necessary. And we want to click target. Not sure why I have that. Save. Okay, so the next thing we want to do for this one is like, okay, we got a random cell targeted. Now we need to add a node. Now we want to scan the board. So evaluate density for heat map. Do we want to do that? Sure. And we're going to include diagonals. And we're going to weight this very highly. So 5. And we're going to say if go to, it's -1 if we want it to go down the list. Light heat map like this. So if it's true, wait, this doesn't have a true condition, so this probably should just be 0. Save, and then after we evaluate the density, we need to pick a light from that heat map. Oh, we also need to evaluate the light from the current turn. No, we don't. So let's try to make all the lights go from the inside out. So if we evaluate outside to in, and we say do the light heat map, and we're going to do inside out, it's going to have the preference like this. Then we're going to target a cell from the heat map. Save. Target a cell. I'm going to put a text search. Target a cell from the heat map, and it automatically targets the hottest one. Or I could put a percentage, right? We're just going to do the hottest. And then we're going to say apply click from target. save it. So now it's gonna do a random click, then it's gonna scan it, and then do a targeted click. A random click, scan, and targeted click, and hopefully all the lights are going to move out. But let's say we don't want any of the lights. So we never want the lights to be clicked on if they're in that shape that we're looking for. So let's do this. So after it does all that, let's add a node and say light limiter. Modify light limiter. And this is going to prevent any of the scans or anything from looking at the cells you specified. So let's just say if there's any cells here, it's never going to mark them as hot. If it never marks them as hot, there's a greater chance that they won't get messed with. Just a greater chance. It's not guaranteed. So we do that. And then like, oh, shouldn't we have done that from the beginning? You're like, yeah, maybe. So why don't we take this light limiter and move it to position 1 and hit enter. Oop, everything moves. Whoa, technology. And now let's hit save. No. Stop. Save. I'm going to go ahead and back out of this and so it really saves. So now that the light limiter is activated, nothing of the scans is going to do that. So now we're going to limit that's all we're going to do. We're going to run this a bunch of times and see what happens. Boop, 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 boop. Run it. Let's do it 10 times. Let's start at slow speed so we can see it thinking. Modify light limiter, apply a random click, starts there. Evaluate outside to inside, it's going to pick that spot. No! You did not find... It found the custom pattern. Oh my gosh! Okay, so... No... Did we not specify this top one? It's not supposed to... No, this is not the custom pattern. It was close. But it has 2 sticks right here and here and here and here. But these, I thought I specified, should not be lights, right? I can't check it right now, but let's keep rolling. Look, that's not the pattern, but it's close. So let's jack it up a little bit. And then we're going to run it. Modify light limiter. Target a random cell, it's going to pick that one. Evaluate for density. You didn't find anything. That thing is broken. Let's speed it up. Let's hope it doesn't get in our way. It's getting in our way. Okay, stop it. You didn't do anything that time. So sometimes I'm like, it's broken, but other times I'm like, wait, is it really here? And maybe it's still looking at these two. So I'm going to jack that and see what happens. Is it really... I don't think it's actually looking at the spaces I specified to be blanks. So I guess it found these two right here. So if I jack that, it won't find it. Yeah. And where did it find it this time? Nowhere. Freaking liar. You're lying to me. Well, that's it for today's stream, because this thing needs more work, and that's what I'll do this weekend. But it's kind of interesting to play around with it. It's kind of interesting how effortless it is to get a whole bunch of results when otherwise you would have to do a lot of it manually, and that just takes up too much brain power. So you start thinking creatively, and you start thinking about doing things you've never done before, like let's just click like this in a random letter R or whatever. Like, well, now you can see how effective that strategy would be across many games very quickly. So that's the last major feature I'm adding to the game, and I've been trying to polish it, but otherwise working on this feature from scratch was pretty interesting. So until tomorrow, guys, peace.